Hello, Fuse Nation. My name is Alex Hughes, the host of Fusion News. Today is February 28th. Tomorrow is March 1st. I'm joined right now by Clem from Barstool Sports. Busy day in the sports world, of course. We had the Mets setting up their former star, David Wright, up to New York. He had a little shoulder injury, right?
Yep. The ghost of David Wright again haunts us Mets fans as he reminds us that he's alive, and then he goes on the 60-day DL sooner or later.
Yeah. So, where does this end up for David Wright? Do you think David Wright should retire? I know we probably don't want to be talking about whether a player should retire or not. It's not our business. But do you feel like it's now time for David Wright to maybe decide to retire from the MLB?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find a bigger David Wright fan than me. I loved him when he was in the minors. I went to his first game in the majors. Like, I made it a point to go there. Like, he was my guy from day one. And, like, the last few years, it's like, again, like you said, it's not our place to say these guys should or not. As a fan, though, I just want him to retire. The Wilpons aren't exactly the most we'll just say they're not the most – they don't spend the most money in baseball. They're a little frugal. So to have that money available to them and just to move on from it, like, they didn't even really fill third base. I know Reyes can play third, but I like to have a little bit more power, especially in the lineup we have at the corners. I like to have a little more power there than Reyes, and it's like we're just going to be scrambling to replace him instead of having a plan in place, which a New York team should be much, much more set in terms of, around the diamond. So I think they should move on from him personally, and I don't know. He's the kind of guy where I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, I have my money, I could go. But at the same point, it's like, this is he's never going to make as much money in his career as he is right now, and then it's all over,
Right, and I feel like with David Wright, it's not just about the money. It's that he loves the sport of baseball, and it's like he doesn't want to leave the sport of baseball because he just loves it so much, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like cliche saying how much, but he's like, I always say David Wright is like Mickey Mouse, he's like Mickey Mouse and like a golden retriever. He's just like the all-American kid. He's like the boy next door is what I always say. And it's like kind of corny, but I really feel like the guy is like that. He loves baseball, and he's almost like too smiley, where my wife even makes fun of me for like, she's like, look at this guy. He's like a loser. I'm like, that's my guy, David Wright. Stop making fun of him. But he really is like you said, man, he loves the game, and he's just that kind of guy that you love having on your team, other than the fact that like he's made out of paper mache.
And one more question about the Mets before we move on and switch gears and talk some other sports here on Fusion News. But the major goal for this Mets team was, of course, to sign Yoenis Cespedes back with the Mets, and they did just that. Do you feel like they should have went after another position player potentially for this Mets team, since they weren't really sure about the status of David Wright going into the season?
Yeah. I would have. I don't know who I would have. If you're a Mets fan with a limit, again with the Mets with they don't have unlimited money, but I would have liked shoring up third base, or even like if Jose Bautista, if you could have gotten him for cheap on a 1-year deal, maybe pay more than Toronto, but maybe just like a 1 or 2 year deal. Like the as a Mets fan, I'm always pessimistic, and I feel like we have to win now while these young arms are still relatively healthy, because with arms, you never know when one guy's going to go down, when two. I mean, we lost a bunch last year. I think you got to kind of go for the championship in the next few years. The Cubs aren't going anywhere. They're going to be around for a long time, so I think you might as well take your shot now instead of, once those guys' contracts are up too, then you're going to be paying them money, and then again with the Wilpons, you're kind of running into that who are we going to pay, who are we going to let go thing. So we have the arms now. We have Cespedes now. I like that they brought back Cespedes, though, because all Mets fans were expecting him to leave, take bigger money elsewhere, again, because of the Wilpons. I'll give him credit for not letting him go and kind of forking over the cash there.
Well, Clem, we'll switch gears and talk the NFL. And quickly before we talk the NFL offseason, I have to talk to you about this Super Bowl game. This game was probably one of the greatest Super Bowl games I ever saw. It was like a boxing match, and then finally the New England Patriots, finally defeated and knocked out the Falcons in the Super Bowl game. Now at halftime, of course, the score was 28-3 Falcons. Did you already count out this Patriots team at halftime or no?
I thought it was over. I did say there is a chance they will come back just because they're the Patriots. But at that point, I thought after that last touchdown when they went up 25, I said, all right, it's probably over. I was watching the Super Bowl by myself. My wife and kid were both asleep. My kid woke up crying, and I literally was holding her in my arms for that entire comeback, and I was trying not to make any noise. But it's like on one end you have the Patriots who always come through, and then the other end of the spectrum you have the Falcons who always like just break their fans' hearts. So you really like I was always like, there's always a chance this could happen unless it was almost like impossible. But then when everyone started adding up the scores, it was like 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, the touchdown, the field goal, and then you're like, oh man, they can do it. And then once the Patriots got the ball the last drive, I mean, I don't think there was anyone in America who didn't think the Patriots were going to tie the game. And then once they tied it, it's like, all right, now they're just going to win it.
Yeah. Now, you, of course, write for Barstool Sports, and if there was an NFL team that you would love to cover for just one game, what team would that be?
I mean, I'm a Giants fan. I will write about the Giants. So, I mean, I just stay with my local team with the Giants. I think the Giants are a pretty interesting team just because Eli doesn't make any damn sense. He beats Tom Brady in the Super Bowl twice, and then they miss the playoffs like almost every other year it seems, and they don't win playoff games other than when they win Super Bowls. So, I mean, I just stick with my hometown team. I'm one of those weird Mets Giants fan. They call me a sports gypsy, so that's where I stick to, man.
Yeah. I'm a Patriots and Yankees fan, so it's a little different.
Man. Yeah, that's something right there, man. That's really a gypsy.
Yeah.
That's Matt Harvey. I think Matt Harvey's a Patriots-Yankees fan, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, of course, we have the NFL offseason, and like you said, you are a Giants fan. So what did the Giants have to do this offseason? They made the wild card game this year, and they didn't really go too far in the playoffs at all. So what do you think that this Giants team could really do to put them over and really go far in the playoffs?
So I think the defense was much better than even anyone expected. Snacks was great. So they have JPP who they just franchise tag. They have to make a decision. They have him and Hankins. Jonathan Hankins is defensive tackle. They have to choose between them probably. If they can get them both signed under the cap, that's great. But the biggest point of weakness was the offense. The offense was not a Super Bowl offense this year. I would say, first off, we have to upgrade the offensive line. By that, I mean left tackle. We need to upgrade. Eric Flowers has been a disaster. They move him to right tackle or they just bench him. I don't know. It's probably going to be I don't think they want to bench him yet. So he'll probably move to right tackle. So we have to fill left tackle. We need a tight end. And we need a running back. We have Paul Perkins, who I think can be the number one running back. The question is who they're going to get as like the complementary guy. Obviously, the big news today was Adrian Peterson and Jamal Charles getting released. Those are two names you've heard of. I don't know if either of them will definitely be a fit. Again, they'd have to take. We're going to have cap issues once we sign everyone. And then the other thing is tight end. We need to upgrade a tight end. Larry Donnell is gone. Thank God. So we just need to upgrade. Eli doesn't need much. He did it with Kevin Boss. He did it with Jake Ballard. I mean, you're a Patriots fan. He did it with Jake Ballard. He doesn't need much. Even when he had Martellus Bennett, he was good. But, like, he just needs better than Larry Donnell, who's doing, like, somersaults and fumbling and just a bunch of nonsense. So give Eli a couple weapons. Give him protection. That's the biggest thing. And my, like, pie-in-the-sky dream is, like, an Alshon Jeffrey, but he's going to be way too expensive because Eli loves tall receivers. That's why Plexico and him are so good. That eliminates a lot of the bad Eli passes that you see that go over the receiver's head and get picked off by the safety. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, but I don't think Jeffrey's a realistic option.
Okay. Now, of course, I tweeted out today asking the fans to tweet out some questions, and I got one from P-Wagon. He wants to talk to you about Red Rooster and tell him his best friend P-Wagon says hello. So we got that tweet from him.
What's up, P-Wagon? Yeah, he's a good dude. The Red Rooster and Brewster, that's a local drive-in spot here. It's like north of Westchester, New York. Best burger. I wouldn't say best burgers in the area. Second best burgers behind the Blazer. That's in Purdy's, New York. But it's just like good old-fashioned, like you feel like you're in the 50s there. Good burgers, fries, milkshakes. And just went there, I think, 3 days ago with my wife and kid. We shared an ice cream cone. It was a beautiful thing. And they got 18 holes of miniature golf. So you're ever in town, well, maybe we'll do an 18 together, right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Maybe I'll go down to a Yankee Mets game and we'll see what happens down there, right?
There we go. Loser has to pay for mini golf, and then the loser mini golf has to pay for ice cream. That's the rules. And
that sounds good.
Let me just say, this is a little mythology or whatever you want to say. I think I've won. You ever play the miniature golf where it's like the clown eyes, nose, and mouth? You have to get in the nose for a free game. I've gotten 3 free games there. No big deal.
Wow. Oh, so we got some high competition, right?
Yeah, just bring your A game is all I'm saying.
So, of course, we'll switch gears and talk Barstool Sports before I wrap up this interview. And I have to ask you this question. What do you think about Barstool Sports that a lot of the fans that read Barstool Sports and, listen to the podcast don't know about Barstool Sports?
I think the amount of work that goes into just a simple blog. I mean, I'm not by any means going to say it's a tough job or like it's something that like I would trade. I would like another job. Not at all. I love my job. It's like a dream job. But like just finding the right stories and trying to find an angle, and every single day, it's something that from the outside when I was a reader, I never really saw. But then when you start working, you realize just how much work goes into finding the right stories, and then thinking of a good angle, trying to be funny. I mean, being funny. I mean, for me, funny. I mean, funny. You never know. Like I think it's funny sometimes. Other people don't think it's funny. But it's a grind. And, whenever something breaks, you have to be on point. I go to a party on the weekends. I'm going out at night. I have to bring my laptop with me because if Kristaps Porzingis has a crazy dunk, I have to blog it. So it's like you're kind of always on call. So it's a grind. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, and I don't think a lot of these guys would. And I mean, everyone in the company, I'll say this: everyone in the company I've dealt with works extremely hard. And I honestly think it's the first time I've worked at a company where I am motivated by how good my coworkers are at their job. It makes me want to be better because of it. It's God's honest truth.
Where do you want to see this company, Barstool Sports, in the next 5 years?
I want to see, we always say own the moon. That's like the new slogan we've been using ever since Comedy Central. I want to see Barstool everywhere. I want, we do a good job in terms of we cover sports, we cover pop culture, we'll cover politics, we'll cover news, all this stuff. I want Barstool to be one of the places people go to get their news and info, not just news, but info in general. And just A, to get the story, but B, also just get like a regular person's opinion. That's why Barstool succeeds. We're just regular people just giving our opinions on stuff. We don't talk down to our audience at all because we are the audience. We're all for the common man, by the common man is our tagline. And I'd like us to kind of be, whenever Game of Thrones comes out, I want to know what the Barstool guys have to say. If there's a blog, if there's a podcast. When the NBA Finals is going on, Barstool Sports is there. I want Barstool to be a part of the conversation, the national conversation, whether it's on TV, the internet, podcasts, anything else. I just want us to be the first thing people think of from coast to coast, from north to south.
Yeah, and that sounds, that's what I like about Barstool Sports. And when I read it, and you were talking about being funny, and I think I'm, pretty funny, but a lot of people probably don't think I'm funny. I like the bad joke. Like not the bad jokes, like a bad knock joke. Like I like those kind of jokes.
Well, I'm a dad, so I tell dad jokes here and there. So I don't know. It kind of gets lumped in with like the regular jokes. So now I have to like watch out. Like I'm getting old now, so things I might have thought funny that were funny now would have been funny like 10 years ago.
Right. Well, of course, we'll wrap up this Feuzion News interview. But first, where can the fans follow you on Twitter and listen to your podcast and also read your articles on Barstool Sports?
So they can follow me on Twitter at the Clem Report, the CLEM Report, just one word, obviously. They can follow me. They can read me on barstoolsports.com. And then I also have a podcast called The Podfathers, which I do with two other guys on Barstool, KFC and Uncle Chaps. We talk about, again, being dads and all the highs and lows that come with it. That you can find on iTunes, Podfathers. And then Podfathers Show is on Twitter. And then I also do a No Quitters podcast, which is for MTV The Challenge. It's like a 20-year-old show. It's been going on forever. It's three idiots, me, JJ, and Connor. JJ, I know you had on recently. Just three idiots talking about like 20 idiots who go to the house, drink, and just act like complete lunatics. So that's No Quitters Podcast, No Quitters Pod on Twitter, No Quitters Podcast on iTunes.
Okay, great. And I want to say thank you for taking the time to come on my show tonight. I really do appreciate, talking some New York sports with you, and I hope to have you on later in the baseball season to talk some Mets.
Can't wait. Let's do it. Hopefully the Mets and Yankees are both good next year. We'll have some trash talk going on. some lighthearted trash talk. You Yankee fans kill me sometimes. So.
Well, those are Yankee fans for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yankees and Patriots fans, man. You guys have it. You have a good right now.
Yeah. Well, Fuse Nation, I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch the show. I know we had over 100 people watching live, so thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going live at 8 p.m. with Cam F. Awesome. He's a former USA Olympic boxer. We'll be talking his comedy career and also his WWE friends. Thank you for watching. I will see you at 8 p.m. Thanks for watching.